morning, my friends. Welcome to another English class. I just want to apologize because I'm kind of late, but the problem is that this application was uploading and it takes time, at least in this computer, it took time. So we'll continue with the oral performance. Only one, well, actually two of you are missing. And I don't know if you're ready. Pamela Bonilla. Pamela Guadalupe Bonilla Vigil, are you ready with your presentation? So remember that this is the only evaluation you have for this term. So I think it doesn't represent a big deal. Are you ready? Do you have your presentation? No? No, Pamela? You have had a lot of time to get ready with this? Okay. So then let's move to the next thing. Well, give me a second. Okay, we're gonna work today on lesson number 3 in your English ID in unit number 10. Is unit number 3, page 108, if I'm not mistaken. So this is the lesson, lesson 4. Here we have study lesson number 3. It's lesson 4, page 110. Would you say you were bossy? I mean, this question is like in the past. If you remember when you were a kid or when you were a little bit younger, if you were bossy, not busy, bossy. Bossy is someone who likes to tell other people what to do, like, you know, being marking orders all the time, expecting that others do exactly what they are told to from you, of course. And also a related term for this lesson is a toxic friend. I mean, it's just if you're a toxic person in the relationships that you get engaged with, like, you know, friendship or more than that, sometimes people are kind of, you know, like bossy, just to call them somehow. But I will ask you first, if you might consider yourselves like toxic in different levels, in different levels, and in different environments, different relationships with others. Say, Merari, do you consider yourself toxic, a toxic person, a toxic friend?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. No, I don't consider myself as a toxic person.
Oops, I have the microphone unmuted and I was talking. Okay, okay. Thank you, Merari. What about you, Gabby Vasquez? Are you a toxic friend? Aren't you? Valentin Bonilla, are you a toxic person? So you say you're not. Okay, believe you. Velasco Paola.
Hi.
Hello, my friend. Are you?
No, I don't think I am.
Okay. Well, I think you're not, but you never know. Danny Hernandez. Are you a toxic girl?
Hi, teacher.
Hello.
I guess I'm not.
You guess, you think you're not. Okay.
Yeah, I think.
Okay. Thank you. Guillermo Velasco.
Hi, teacher.
Hello, my friend. Are you toxic?
I think no.
Nobody has ever told you, hey, Guillermo, you're very toxic.
No.
Okay. Good, good, very good. Kimberly Gonzalez. Are you a toxic girl? Hello. What do you think? No, you said no. Okay, so guys, I don't think you are, but it is you who can better have a judgment about this because you know yourself very well, I guess. And well, I think that there are some signs that indicates that you're probably toxic and you probably haven't noticed. We're gonna watch an 8-minute clip about some signs, you know, so those alerts, those warning alerts that were warnings are alerts. So some warnings that probably indicates that you're becoming a toxic person and you don't realize it. Because, you know, the concept of toxic is like, you're very problematic, you're a selfish person, etc. But now we're gonna go in detail of these 10 signs. I can relate myself with two of the 10 points that the video shows, but so that means that I'm not. So 2 out of 10, see, it's just 20% of that. It's not even 50. So now you try to check how many of these signs can be reflected in your behavior in daily basis or particular situations. And then share the number with me. Only the number, not the signs. Okay, let's get ready for this. Here we go.
Facets and aspects of relationships, both romantic and platonic, comes new terms with which we define ourselves and our relationships. Ultimately, any relationship, whether romantic or platonic, that is toxic, is the one that is unhealthy and stressful for any or all of the parties involved. Here are 10 signs that in a relationship that has become strained, you are the source of some of the tension and unhealthy behaviors in the relationship's dynamic. Number 1. You blame others for your own problems. Refusing to take responsibility for an outcome over and over again can be a sign that you are a negative influence on others around you. Problems are never only one person's fault, and you are usually the result of contributions and actions of everyone involved, no matter how small. Take a moment to reflect if you catch yourself constantly refusing to apologize or to own up to your own mistakes. Are you truly always 100% of the time guilt-free? Are you really just a constant victim of your environment and surroundings, and everything that happens to you really isn't your fault? Even if you do have a negative environment, you have your own agency and can seek to change your circumstances. However, allowing yourself to remain in a situation that is less than optimal so you can always be the victim is a sure sign that you are not taking responsibility for your own life and actions. Number 2, you always are right. Relating to the previous point, seeing yourself as never in the wrong or never mistaken is another sign that you are becoming toxic for others to be around. Why?
Oops, this is one side that I do really consider that I am like this. Like, I think that I'm always right. You see, I don't know, it's a flaw that I have.
Why would they want to have a discussion with someone who is only open to a viewpoint that already agree with their own? Someone who cannot accept that they may be mistaken or misinformed or simply human with human flaws. Your ego is really only thing ever at stake if you were to admit that you made a mistake or were simply wrong in an argument. And if you cannot let go of your ego and pride long enough to concede to someone else, particularly someone close to you, that you were in the wrong, then this is a sign that you are not someone that people would want to be around. Why would they want to share something with you if you are only going to shut them down and tell them your viewpoint is the only valid one? Number 3, you cannot let things go. Constantly focusing on the negative aspect of your life is another sign that the stress and drama of your life may be coming from within, rather than without. Being
And
hurt
also
or
this one,
disappointed is one thing, but the best thing to do is to take a deep breath, either resolve the issue or let it go, and continue moving forward in your life. Dwelling on an issue from time to time to reflect is one thing, but constantly bringing back up and sulking over it is something entirely different. Pay attention to whether you're always focused on the negatives of your life and find that you cannot allow yourself to move on from the past when everybody else around you have already done so. Being able to move past the things that have hurt you in the past is essential, and the people around you only have the mental and emotional stamina to support you to the same extent that you are willing to support yourself. Number 4, you feel the need to control everything. Are you constantly nitpicking and trying to control everything around you, including and especially things that involve other people? By making yourself the center of attention and power, you are cutting others out of their chance to participate and have a say. Your need to be the only one in control and in power all the time can be exhausting for others to be around, and is an environment that ultimately they will seek to avoid. Number 5, your communication is lacking. While poor communication by itself isn't necessarily a red flag of being the toxic aspect in a relationship, either platonic or romantic, it certainly does not help. When poor communication is paired with the refusal to actively strive to improve, then it becomes just another aspect to be wary of. If you do not communicate effectively and calmly how you feel or what you want from someone, and then become upset or angry when they do not know what is going on in your mind, this is a pattern of toxicity. How is the other person supposed to read your mind? It is your job to tell them what you are feeling. It is not theirs to guess and try to please you preemptively. Number 6, you are dishonest with the other person. Relating to good and open communication, trust and trustworthiness are important factors in any relationship. If you are often dishonest with your friends, family, and loved ones, regardless of what you are dishonest about, how can they trust you in the long run? Compulsive fibbing or lying, even when you think it may be better or less hurtful than the truth, is ultimately a big negative factor in a relationship in the long run. Number 7, you are always measuring yourself up against others. If you are plagued by envy and jealousy and measure your success against the standard of others, then it may be time to take a moment and reflect on your behaviors and values. If anything you do is only worthwhile if it is better than what someone else is doing and you are obsessed with how you measure up to or compare to others around you, then your mentality has become decidedly more shallow. Regardless of what other people are doing, do your own actions bring you joy? You are living your life after all and are your own person. Being consumed by having to measure up against other people around you is an unhealthy thing to focus on and can drain the enjoyment out of many aspects of your life and that of those around you. Number 8. You neglect to take care of yourself. This may not seem like a toxic behavior, but it is a slippery slope. Neglecting to take care of yourself mentally and physically can take a huge toll on your body and mind. For example, being constantly dehydrated because you refuse to drink water is a problem that nobody can fix for you. Your friends and family will worry about you when your body starts to become ill, but the responsibility of ensuring that that situation doesn't come around in the first place is yours. When you neglect to take care of both your mental and physical well-being, the resulting state of unwellness places a strain and burden on those around you who have to take up the mantle of caring for you, when in reality, you should have been taking care of yourself from the beginning. Number 9. The relationship dynamic is unequal. In either a friendship or a romantic relationship, the give and take should be more or less equal in the long run. Support and care is a two-way street. If you are the one who is constantly needing support, validation, and care without offering any in return, this friendship or relationship has turned toxic for the other party. Be mindful that when your friend and loved one supports you, you should in turn support them when they need it. Number 10. Emotional manipulation is in play. Emotional manipulation such as guilt tripping is a huge sign that something in a relationship between two people is not right. Making someone feel bad about themselves or guilty over a mistake they made or unworthy or something in order to control them or push them in a direction that you find more favorable is a behavior that should be closely examined and reflect upon if you catch yourself doing it, especially if it occurs multiple times or often. If you dislike something or disagree with an outcome, compromises and solutions can be found and made. However, manipulating someone, particularly someone that you care about or who cares about you, is a sign that your personality and what you contribute to the relationship between you two is a negative strain on what should be fun, loving, or positive dynamic. At the end of the day, your actions or behaviors can greatly affect others around you, so take some time and truly think about
All right, after watching that enlightening video, so you now can identify some signs and also other people, other people, not only in yourself. Like if you have some friends like that. Let's see. Guillermo, how many signs do you think that can be appealing to you or you can relate to in your personality?
Repeat please.
How many of these signs can you relate with your personality? 1, 2, 9, 10, 0.
I think 0.
0. Okay, do you know people like that? Have you ever met people like the ones in the clip with certain signs like that they're toxic? No, Guillermo?
Sorry, es que creí que les estaba preguntando a los demás.
Ah, okay, no, you.
Okay. Que identifico eso en alguien más.
Yes.
Honestly, no.
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 Okay, thank you. So then let's move to the lesson. Here it says like this. Choose the definition for toxic friend in the first part of the postcard. What do you think suffers more from this problem, men or women? A friend that smells bad, a friend that makes you feel bad, a friend that gossip a lot. Well, gossip is part of a toxic person, as you could see, but no, I don't think that is the right answer. Then you're gonna check the points you hear. Imagine that, watch and listen and check all the points you hear, only the ones you can hear, right? Like check next to the sentences here. For exercise A, for exercise B, you're gonna listen the same audio. And for exercise C, you're gonna listen like the second part of the postcard. See, the anti-toxic step and the main idea. So what they mean exactly. Okay, let's listen.
Audio
These
Audio 10.15.
Any true relationship between friends or significant others should be one between equals. You give and take equally. One person's needs aren't met over another's. Friends and partners are supposed to give you energy and lift you up when you're down and want the best for you. But sometimes we get into relationships that drain energy from us. These are toxic relationships, and they can negatively affect all aspects of our lives. On this week's Wellcast, we're going to tell you how you can tell if you're even in a toxic relationship. And then, we're going to help you extricate yourself from that unhealthy situation pronto.
Audio 10.15.
Any true relationship between friends or significant others should be one between equals. You give and take equally. One person's needs aren't met over another's. Friends and partners are supposed to give you energy and lift you up when you're down and want the best for you. But sometimes we get into relationships that drain energy from us. These are toxic relationships, and they can negatively affect all aspects of our lives. On this week's Wellcast, we're going to tell you how you can tell if you're even in a toxic relationship. And then, we're going to help you extricate yourself from that unhealthy situation pronto.
You really got to get away from those relationships, even if they're just friends or they are romantically involved. So the second definition is the one, a friend that makes you feel bad. That is a toxic friend. And in letter B, the points that were mentioned that you were supposed to check is 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Almost all of them. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. And then exercise C.
Audio 10.16.
Step 1. Diagnose the relationship. How do you know if a friend or partner is bringing you down? Well, in much the same way that you know you're coming down with a cold. Toxic relationships come with symptoms. When you're around this person, how do you feel? Here are a few other questions you should ask yourself if you're thinking you might be in a toxic situation. Does my friend put me down all the time? Are they jealous when I spend time with others? Do they constantly bring up parts of me that they want to change? Do they take more than they give? Am I only doing the things that they want to do? Step 2. Recognize your role in the relationship. As Eleanor Roosevelt once said, nobody can make you feel inferior without your consent. All right, look. You know we got that from Princess Diaries, obviously. Moving on. Listen, you have autonomy in every relationship in your life. If a friend or partner is stealing your sunshine, you need to figure out what you're doing to allow them to do this. Are you being a doormat? Are you putting this person's emotional needs ahead of your own health? Step 3. Start to build boundaries for this relationship. Does your friend invite themselves over at all hours of the night? Are they constantly bossing you around? Are they always borrowing money from you? Once you know the boundary that you want to set, stick to it. Draw your line in the sand. Step 4. Recognize that you can't change other people, but you can stop being a doormat. If you've determined that a friendship or relationship is toxic, you know that you have to change the nature of that relationship. Start by spending less time with that person and do your best to detach yourself emotionally. Setting boundaries will hopefully help you begin to phase this relationship out. Step 5. Get a second opinion. Especially if you're emotionally vulnerable, the best thing you can do is surround yourself with people who love you and who want you to be happy and healthy. Use them as a lifeline during this time. Step 6. Above all else, look out for yourself. Studies have shown that people with low self-esteem are far more likely to find themselves in toxic relationships. You will never be treated with love and respect unless you absolutely believe that you deserve these things. Remember, you teach people how to treat you, so do yourself the favor of loving yourself.
Audio 10.16.
Step 1. Diagnose the relationship. How do you know if a friend or partner is bringing you down? Well, in much the same way that you know you're coming down with a cold. Toxic relationships come with symptoms. When you're around this person, how do you feel? Here are a few other questions you should ask yourself if you're thinking you might be in a toxic situation. Does my friend put me down all the time? Are they jealous when I spend time with others? Do they constantly bring up parts of me that they want to change? Do they take more than they give? Am I only doing the things that they want to do? Step 2. Recognize your role in the relationship. As Eleanor Roosevelt once said, nobody can make you feel inferior without your consent. All right, look. You know we got that from Princess Diaries, obviously. Moving on. Listen, you have autonomy in every relationship in your life. If a friend or partner is stealing your sunshine, you need to figure out what you're doing to allow them to do this. Are you being a doormat? Are you putting this person's emotional needs ahead of your own health? Step 3. Start to build boundaries for this relationship. Does your friend invite themselves over at all hours of the night? Are they constantly bossing you around? Are they always borrowing money from you? Once you know the boundary that you want to set, stick to it. Draw your line in the sand. Step 4. Recognize that you can't change other people, but you can stop being a doormat. If you've determined that a friendship or relationship is toxic, you know that you have to change the nature of that relationship. Start by spending less time with that person and do your best to detach yourself emotionally. Setting boundaries will hopefully help you begin to phase this relationship out. Step 5. Get a second opinion. Especially if you're emotionally vulnerable, the best thing you can do is surround yourself with people who love you and who want you to be happy and healthy. Use them as a lifeline during this time. Step 6. Above all else, look out for yourself. Studies have shown that people with low self-esteem are far more likely to find themselves in toxic relationships. You will never be treated with love and respect unless you absolutely believe that you deserve these things. Remember, you teach people how to treat you, so do yourself the favor of loving yourself.
Okay, this was kind of long, right? Just to check the order is 3, 5, 4, 6, 1, and number 2. Then we have some phrasal verbs here. You're gonna match pictures from 1 to 6. Listen to the extracts to hear. Friends and partners are supposed to give you energy and lift you up when you're down. So that, I think it is letter D, right? So you have to write number 1 here. And identify the phrasal verb that in this case is lift up. And this is a separable phrasal verb because we have a word, the pronoun in between, lift you up. So we're gonna see a little bit about this. Right now, let's complete the exercise.
Audio 10.17. 1,
39, 40, happy birthday!
Yay!
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 Friends and partners are supposed to give you energy and lift you up when you're down.
2,
How do you know if a friend or partner is bringing you down?
3,
Oh.
Well, in much the same way that you know you're coming down with a cold.
4,
If a friend or partner is stealing your sunshine, you need to figure out what you're doing to allow them to do this.
5,
Do this, do that, do this, do that.
Are they constantly bossing you around?
6,
Don't give up, don't give up, don't give up. Once you know the boundary that you want to set, stick to it. Draw your line in the sand.
Okay, so is 1D, number 2 or conversation 2 or sentence 2 is picture C, number 3 is E, 4 is F, 5 is D, and number 6 is letter A. Then in the next part, you have to match the phrasal verbs that match with the definitions here. When you make somebody feel happier, make someone feel sad, tell someone what to do, find the answer, understand, continue, not changing your mind, or become sick with someone. So use the phrasal verbs from the previous exercise and write them down. Then complete 1 to 4 with verbs in B. Ask and answer questions, and you might write the answers right in here. You can do this in 10 minutes. Okay, we're going to check the answers in letter B. So is lift up, lift somebody up. In number 2 is bring somebody down. Number 3, boss somebody around. 4 is figure somebody or something out. Somebody and something means that it can go either for things or people. Stick to something only for things and come down with something. So then in exercise C, in number 1 is brought you down. So this is the past tense of bring, brought you down. In past tense, came down with. Number 3, figure out or figured it out. And 4 is stick to. Now we're gonna listen to the real, the real word, not the word of English. Something about separable and inseparable phrasal verbs.
Audio 10.18.
When a phrasal verb needs an object, sometimes you can separate the verb and particle.
You can split them up.
And sometimes you can't.
Nothing can come between them.
4 tips to help you. 1. Most phrasal verbs with one particle are separable. If you use a pronoun, it always goes in the middle.
Turn on the TV. Turn the TV on. Turn it on.
2. But some common phrasal verbs with one particle are inseparable.
I'm looking for a job.
If you're not sure, say it out loud, separating the verb and particle. If the verb is inseparable, the sentence will sound really strange.
I'm looking a job for.
3. Phrasal verbs with 2 particles are usually inseparable.
She cut down on sugar.
4. To remember new phrasal verbs, create a useful, personal example.
Get out! You couldn't make that up.
Use them as often as you can until they become friends.
Okay. So now with those tips, it will be easier for you to know. Basically has to do with your listening skills. When you feel that something it doesn't sound like natural because you have heard it before on the television or music. So you will know that this is not natural. So that the phrasal verb shouldn't be separated or split from from the particle. Now, finally, complete 106 using it or them. So those are object pronouns. It, as you know, is used for singular forms and them for plural ones. Let's do this in 3 minutes. So let's check the answers. For this one, it was a very simple. 1, them up. 2, it. 3, it. 4, it. 5, them. And 6, them. It off, it off, it out, up, it up for them, and to them. So then we have workbook, workbook, workbook. Let me see. So let's work on these pages, please, in your workbooks.